I got your business page up here.
Yeah, so it's going to be up there now. We should be live now. All right, guys. So we're live. My name is Nachum Russell. For those of you who don't know me, most of you call me Russ, though, because nobody can say Nachum. And this is my friend Chad Gabbz of Team Floppy Ears in California. I'm not even sure which part of Cali you're in.
Yeah, Southern California, dude. Probably like an hour away from San Diego in the Inland Empire. So,
okay, cool. So for those of you who it's your first time joining this live, I go live every week with another dog trainer or another cool person who I want to chat with, and it's really just a way for us to get to know each other, for you guys to get to know Chad, and for us to have a good time together. So feel free to join the conversation in the comments section. Ask anything you want to ask. Throw up any comments. It's not really like a how-to dog training live, so if you ask a lot of technical dog training questions, I'm probably not going to answer them, but it's just more like let's get to know each other and have fun. So Chad, for those of you who aren't following him, you guys should follow his page, Team Floppy Ears, especially on Instagram, because it's really fun. That's Team Floppy Ears. That's his dog, Rosie. But Chad has a very interesting background that's probably extremely different than any dog trainer I've ever spoken to, and probably that any of you guys have ever heard of. So let's get into that, because you were always a dog trainer, and I know this is kind of new. So how'd that all start? Larry Crone says, hi, Chad.
Is Larry seriously watching right now?
Larry is seriously watching. Don't fanboy too much.
No, I'm dead set serious. There's a lot of people in dog training, and he was one of the first people that I really was like, okay, because there's a lot of messages out there. There's a lot of people giving messages, and there's a lot of people talking about it. But like from the, like such a practical, like everything he spoke about, I identified with. And, you know, I got coached by a lot of different coaches. So my main background is in baseball.
I have to take this.
And the thing that stands out to me here, the thing that stands out to me here is like I was coached.
Yeah.
I was coached by like 15, let's say 15 coaches in my career, right? I didn't really take a lot from each one of them. I took more from others than I did from others. Does that make sense? And like the way they delivered their message, some of them, it resonated different with me. And with Larry, I just watched all his stuff. This is before I even became a dog trainer. When I was like searching, I found him on YouTube. Mm-hmm. And like, it just really, he was one, and I'm on him right now because he was one of the bigger inspirations for me. Like when I was like, man, like this guy, like, he means what he says, and he's convicted by what he says. And I want to get to that point in my dog training career, because that was the very beginning where like when I talk about something, like I want to be convicted by what it is that I talk about, you know, because obviously I look at him with these eyes, and like if I could get to that point, well, other people are going to look at me like that. And like, so I've told him, I've DM'd him, and I said, Larry, dude, thank you. And he's responded, which also says so much, because there's so many people that are big in the game that won't even look at a DM or respond to it. Yeah. And that's the way I am. Like, I respond to people when they hit me up, regardless of what it's about. You know what I mean? So, Larry, thank you, bro. Appreciate it.
Larry's a real one.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Larry says thank you. A lot of people in the comments are saying that we got a Adam Levine stunt double up here.
Who, me?
Apparently, you look like Adam Levine.
I'll take that. He's handsome.
He is. So, you used to play baseball before you were a dog trainer.
Yeah. So, I'll give you guys my rookie card right there. That's 19-year-old Chad there. I'm 36 now, so it's been a long time. But I think I never really imagined being a dog trainer. It just sort of, you know, my wife is the reason why I became a dog trainer. But I think what works well for me is that there's a lot of human empowerment in this game, you know, preaching to the choir there. And I think that's the real trick. You know, I think dog training information is accessible to people. But what makes the difference than somebody going online or somebody hiring a professional? It's just the element of somebody being there and inspiring you and giving you the practical and applicable information live in the flesh. It's different. Like, you can't explain it. And like when you have somebody like me with a background in athletics, and they're very competitive, and they're very convicted by their beliefs, it does something for people, man. You know, I teach with passion, and and when you're live in the flesh with somebody and you really have a mission to change somebody's life and it means something to you, I don't know. I think the recipe works well for me. And I think a lot of it is credited to my 10 years of being a professional athlete, dude, because it was get it done or be executed. I had to perform to eat. And I feel like, you know, I feel that way with my clients. I have to get the results for them and I have to help them in order for me to eat, because if I don't, they're not going to go tell nobody about me. And if they don't tell nobody about me, then I stop getting work. And so that's just the way I kind of approach my game. And I call it a game because it is a game. Hold on. Hey, what are you doing, you little shit?
Take care, Angelina. Chat later. What up, Bill? Marianne, Rachel?
Sorry, my new puppy board and train was chewing on some shit.
That dog is so freaking cute.
Yeah, this is Kobe. He's actually just a little puppy. He's a little badger hunter, little Dotson.
So you were a professional baseball player for 10 years, and now you're training dogs. What happened? Because that's not a regular story. How did that go?
A lot of people, including myself, I'm a bit surprised that we didn't go into baseball because that was my main thing. That's all I ever really knew, because I signed as a 19-year-old out of a junior college. And I actually didn't even know I was getting drafted. I was just a year 10, like a sophomore in junior college, just kind of going through the motions, playing baseball. I didn't start playing baseball until my freshman year in high school. Just because my mom needed me to do something so she could work longer and then pick me up after baseball practice, because it ended at like 5 or 6, you know, when most people close.
Yep.
And so I'm gonna put this dog down. So yeah, dude, long story short, my eyes didn't light up about teaching baseball when it was all done. It was like when I retired from ball, it was kind of like, I think that part of my life ran its course, and I took all the values and all the stuff that I learned from baseball, but I realized that my heart really wasn't into teaching it. Like I tried, I definitely was like a coach at a high school, like a pretty good high school, but I just realized, like, if I'm not really fired up about something, then I just fizzle, and it's just not, you know. And so I just was like, okay, well, I just went back to just making money however I could for the time being. And then I met my wife, man. Well, at the time, she was like not even my girlfriend. But when I met Kyla, she showed me what was possible with my dog, Rosie. And like, Rosie was the worst, like the worst.
Was she training then? Was she a dog trainer then?
She was on the tail end of like a 2-year, 3-year apprenticeship with this other dude that was really good. And so she basically, and even then I had not planned to like become a dog trainer, but I was learning how to train my own dog. And I became very, very obsessed with like reversing my dog's bad habits, etc. And then I got a taste for what was possible. And my life changed with my dog. Like I always wanted to walk her. I always wanted to be able to call her back to me, like all the things that everybody wants, you know? And I never really even dreamed of that even being a possibility because of how difficult she was. And then when Kyla gave me a taste of all this like possibility, that really truly is the beginning of like, I was enjoying the shit out of training dogs all of a sudden, you know? But at that point I hadn't trained any dogs. And then Kyla and we got together and we just started rescuing dogs, dude. We just like for free. Like for a long time, we just took people's surrender dogs. We would go to the shelter and pull them out of the shelter and just like we would train them. I would practice that way. And like, I was telling my story to one of my students about how I did a lot of work free of charge, you know, to get my mileage, to get my experience, to get to the point where like I could confidently talk about my strategies and styles and actually take money from people. There was a pretty long road there where I needed to make sure that I was able to do that shit first. You know what I mean? And it just worked out that way. I was working demolition And after my demolition job, I'd go break a house down with my boys. I'd come home, and then I would work with Rosie on some stuff, you know, or I'd work with a rescue dog on some stuff. And then slowly but surely, you know, I'd study guys like Larry. I'd study guys like my buddy Adam over at South End. A couple of other guys that I actually don't keep in contact with anymore, but I still have to give them credit for what they helped me with along the way. But yeah, dude, so that's basically the road. And then finally we got pregnant. This is 4 years ago. And it was like I started to kind of figure it out a little bit as far as like I was getting results with these rescue dogs. And then I needed to make more money. This little dog's crazy. I needed to make more money because we're pregnant and I need to support. And so, I mean, every successful person in life, every successful person I know in life has like a pretty significant why. And my daughter became my why. And that was like, there was like this moment where I'm like literally verbalized to my wife after she broke it to me that we were pregnant. I go, well, I better get my shit together. And then that's when the flip switched in my mind. Like, all right, I'm going to have to start taking money from people now instead of just doing it for free. See if I could. And so I was like forced into it, you know, it was kind of like in a way, like always ambitious person, but that really was the straw that broke the camel's back in terms of me just taking that leap, you know, just jumping and diving in now, like, you know. And of course there was that like, oh, but I'm not certified. And you know how I feel about certifications and stuff like that, especially after doing a lot of reading of like really good books. You know, have you gotten into Expert Secrets at all?
but to be honest, I haven't really read it much yet because I've been busy as fuck and like I've had a lot of dogs coming and going. But I have it and it's on my desk every day. I'm like, I need to get to it.
Well, on the topic, while we're talking about the same thing, there's a portion in one of the first few chapters that you'll read about Tony Robbins. And if you know Tony Robbins, he's like, if you don't know, he's like changed millions and millions of people's lives, and he's like a billionaire. But there's a story that Russell Brunson, the author of this book here, Russell Brunson, he knows Tony Robbins, and Tony Robbins told him a story about his very first course that he bought in order to become the type of teacher that he wanted to be and create the type of change that he wanted to change. A week into it was like an apprenticeship or whatever, the program, he was like, all right, I got it. I'm ready to start helping people. But he wasn't certified yet. And so he was like, screw that. I'm ready to help people now. And so he went out and started helping people. He helped some people stop smoking with his strategies. And the course, the people found out that he went out and started practicing without being certified, and they kicked him out. They actually kicked him out of the course. But then we all know he went on to change millions and millions and millions of people's lives. So, and then it goes on to say, look, you don't need a piece of paper in order to help somebody. I hereby grant you permission to start helping people. And it just fired me up to no end, because really that's what it comes down to, man. Can you help people or can you not? You know, and like, that's it.
Absolutely. I totally agree with that. Like, I get so many people, and I feel like it's weird when people ask me, like, how do you get into dog training? What should I do to become a dog trainer? Because I'm like, don't ask me. Like, I'm not that guy to ask about how to become a dog trainer. I'm just some dude trying to be a dog trainer. But people like ask me, like, what's the steps to take? Do I need this certification? Do I need that certification? And my response is always, if you can help somebody's life get better with their dog, then that's the certification you need. Like, just start helping. And even if it's a small thing, if you can help someone have a better walk with their dog, then you're going to be of service to a lot of people. So you don't have to be fixing dogs with major aggression issues. Like, there's tons and tons of dogs that just need to be taught how to walk. And if you can do that, that's enough of a reason for you to be out there helping people and changing their lives, that they could actually take a walk with their dog. It's not, and then you learn, and then you continue. Obviously the goal is to get better at everything, but start with what you have, because what you have is more than what someone else has, and they need what you have. So start.
I got the chills. I literally have chills running up and down my arms. And I in reflection, why was I able to get it going with my dog? I had some direction from another person, But the real true reason is anybody that truly freaking wants something can actually have it, you know?
Yep.
But like, what's your definition of truly wanting something? For me, it was a relentless pursuit of it, and I could not stop until I got there. And that's just my approach, life after baseball. But I have a lot of inspiration in my life. I have my wife, I have my daughters, I have my dogs, I have a lot of like, and I have a huge community that supports me in Team Floppy Ears. So I have a lot going for me that really puts me like a step ahead of the game. I think in terms of like a lot of people who don't have as many whys, but you can become an expert leader. You can become a charismatic, attractive character simply by being good at whatever it is that you choose to do. So it doesn't even matter what it is. You could be a good botanist, like you could play with flowers or like whatever. Like if your eyes light up, something happens to the person that's watching you when you're doing it. It like there's a word for it. There's a phrase for it in this book. It's something their suspicion. It's confirming their suspicions. Like, look at the way this dude lights up when he talks about it, man. Like, I know this fool is passionate. I know that if I invest my money in this guy, he at least is going to take it seriously for me, you know? And so I don't know. I don't know where I'm really going with it.
It's that spark that you see in someone's eye when you know, like, they're not just saying it, but they know it, they feel it in their heart. And that's that's what it's about. And I think with my dog, my first dog that got me into all of this, my wild child, like what it really was all about, what started it all, what made me get to where I am with helping other people's dogs and with getting him to a better place was a commitment, right? And if you stay committed, like I heard an awesome quote, I have it on a shirt, I don't remember who it's from, but it basically is that commitment is sticking to what you said you were going to do even when you don't feel like it. And that comes with being passionate about really wanting that goal. Mm-hmm. And that's how it was for me with like my Marley, and it carries over into everything I do with every dog. Like, of course there are days where it's like I'd rather not necessarily just pick up shit every day from a bunch of dogs or whatever, right? But it's sticking to that commitment of like, this is what I want to do, and I'm passionate about what I'm going to do, and I'm going to make it happen no matter what it takes, even if I don't feel like it in that moment, because it's that bigger thing that I want. It's that long-term commitment that I have to making it happen. Yeah. I think that's really when you find that thing that you can be, like you were saying, that spark. The way I look at it, and I haven't read the book yet, so I don't know really what he says about it. But the way that I look at it from my own experience is when you find that thing that you're willing to be committed about and to keep to it even when you don't feel like it, that's the thing that you should be sticking to.
Exactly. And I didn't have that in baseball, which is weird because I was very passionate. I played with fire and people enjoyed watching me play. I had like one speed, man. And people ask me if I miss baseball, and like the game itself. Yeah, it was fun. I enjoyed it. But I think the thing I missed most about it was, you know, all the camaraderie, dude, all the boys. And, you know, that certain things like traveling on a bus for hours on end wasn't great. I didn't really enjoy like the bus rides because they were forever long and like on a little tiny bus. It was a big bus, but with limited space in the seating area. But yeah, man, this is awesome. I really appreciate this conversation. I don't even see that anybody's watching or anything, so it doesn't.
We got people watching. Larry's still here. Rowan, whose his dog is coming to me soon. He said that baseball was his game, and he'd done it for years, but his passion as animal is way stronger. So he relates to your story, which is cool.
You know, what I think, Rowan, is like the thing for me is like dogs. Our love for the dogs, and the reason why I'll be in it in some way, shape, or form forever, is because it's the cause itself is bigger than me. You know, like it's somebody like this dog right here that I have in my arms is somebody else's life, bro. Like there's something about that all on its own. You know, the whole like helping this dog's life and helping this person's life when we reconnect. That's a cause. And that right there is a why all on its own, like something to keep you fired up. Because there's times like I don't feel like picking up dog shit in the backyard, but like you said, bro, you got to dig in deep for like, you know. And I am also constantly trying to remind myself that what I do is a privilege. You know, like I may be good at what I do from lots and lots and lots of fucking practice, but am I owed it? I don't know. I don't think I'm owed it. I think it's always going to be like a privilege in my mind that I get to train people's dogs and I get to help the person's life. And that's a privilege, dude. That's like totally something I don't ever want to put on the line. I don't ever want to do something that's going to like risk that being taken away from me. You know what I'm saying? So it keeps me honest. You're welcome to come install like hidden cameras in my facility. See how I behave when the cameras are turned off. No funny business like you'll see, you know, because unfortunately what happens when people start to work with animals for an extended period of time, even if they started the game with the love for the dog or the love for the lion. Have you seen the Lion King have you seen the
Tiger King?
Yes. Have you seen the Tiger?
I haven't watched anything on Netflix in 5 months or some shit like that. Like,
I'm not trying to change the subject. I'm just trying to say that guy, Joe Exotic, actually loved the cats until the fame took over, until the money, and then it changed for him. And if that ever happens, I will identify with that. I'll identify with it, and I'll get out. I'll get out of the game, because when you lose sight of the privilege, it's time to go. You know, it's time to go when you lose sight of them being these amazing fucking animals, dude. Like that. You know, that's why Joe Exotic can rot in prison for shooting the cats in the head, bro. Like I don't mean to like be the, you know, the spoiler alert, but the guy he just killed the cats, and you can't.
All right, I feel like I know the whole story either way, just from the memes. Like, so I know everything that happens, anyways. So let me ask you a question. So you mentioned kind of in passing that like you learned a lot in baseball that relates to what you do now.
Yeah.
Like what? Like what from your baseball career affects the way you train dogs, the way you run your business, the way you live your life?
Well, for me, I was put in some situations in a baseball game where all the odds were stacked against me, facing some really nasty shit, you know, and he's trying to take my lunch money from me. He's up there and he thinks he's going to beat me. And something happens in your mind when you know that man's trying to take it from you, like where you have to go to combat that. And as far as I'm concerned, life is how strong you could be up top, not just physically, you know. It's how mentally strong can you be, and just the relentless like belief in myself is what it taught me. And if I fail, then I'm just going to keep on coming back until I win. And if I fail, I don't let it debilitate me. And so to relate it to the dogs, I run into situations to date where I'm stumped, where I might have to go down my whole list of my arsenal of strategy and tactics to get through or to get some improvement. And of course, there's discouraging moments, but you could just throw in the towel and say, oh, okay, well, that's just hopeless. Or you could just keep on digging. And I guess, I don't know, directly related from baseball to dog training, I think it's just more the mindset that baseball helped me with. Helped me have a strong mind in situations of difficulty. Because for me, I always say this, I don't really talk about baseball very much, but in my mind, there's really nothing more difficult than facing a big league arm when you have 0 balls and 2 strikes on you as a count. I mean, you're absolutely up against the ropes in every way possible. This guy can throw 1 of 5 pitches, and one of them's 90-mile-an-hour plus, and the other is 70 with a little bit of a wrinkle on it. Like, what's more difficult than having to step up to that in my mind? You know what I mean? Like, I could step up to anything in my life if I could mentally overcome and get a fucking base hit when the guy's got me on the ropes. You know what I mean?
So you're still in that game. Your head is still playing that game. Just it's not against another team right now. It's against you and against life and whatever is thrown at you.
I think you said it, against life, because I got a family to feed, dude, and I'll stop at nothing to keep going. Like, I'll stop at nothing. Like, you know, I have to make my clients happy, and I have to find a way to get it done for them. And it's not just for me. That's why I talk about it being about more than me.
Yeah.
Like, I think maybe life would be different and my business would be different if I didn't have what I had driving me.
Yep. So, you got your why. So it's finding that why that drives you, that keeps you going, so that you have that passion to keep going again, to have that fight. Essentially, it's to have that fight, right? To win that game. Like, it's always a competition. Even if there's no physical opponent that you're facing, you're still in that competition every day against whatever's thrown at you, really, which could just be life, could just be not doing shit.
You said it better than me, Russ, and you usually do.
Yeah, man. But I hear it from you when I listen to, like, when I watch your stories, when I tune into your lives on Instagram, like, I hear that in the way you approach things, is that it's always a competition, even if it's not. Like, I think a lot of people look at competitive life as you have to have a team against you. You have to have an opponent that's there against you. And the reality is we're all in a competition. Usually it's against ourselves, because there's like that two sides of us. It's like, I want to fucking stay in bed, or I want to get up, right? That simple one of, like, that a lot of people have, or just, it could be like, I want to eat that cheesecake, or I want to not. Like, it's so many things in life where we have that fight with ourselves, and it's a competition. And, like, it's what's driving you to win that competition. Your why is what's going to push you. Just like when you're playing that game, when you're out on that field, it's like, the example you said, and I'll probably screw up how to say it because honestly I don't know too much about sports, but you said, like, 0 balls and 2 strikes, and you're up against that guy who's like the best pitcher on their team, and right, and it's like the whole world's on you, and you have to fight against it. You have to win. You have no choice, and that's your why in that situation, and that's why, like, you become a successful player and you stay in the game for 10 years. And now when you're not in that life, when it's not that physical, like, up against each other, where you see someone throwing that ball and you have to win, it's that same thing though, because you have that mindset of that competition. Like, I must win, whether it's against myself, whether it's against the asshole hater on TikTok, like, whatever it is, you got to win it. By the way, guys, follow Chad on TikTok.
Oh, dude, I got lucky and went viral, guys. I got a lot of followers, but, like, they're all like 13. So I don't.
Yeah, that's how TikTok works. We got to get you some adults over there.
But,
somebody wants to know, what team drafted you?
yeah, the Cardinals.
Cardinals. Yeah, that's what I figured.
Yep.
He had his rookie card behind him. Rowan, let's see, what does this say? I just want to see this comment. This is a long one. I wanted to get more into it because I know the feeling of needing and wanting help, having my lifeline service dog fail. I always wanted and still want to help people with disabilities, train service animals so they don't go through what I went through. It's where my passion stands, seeing people. Yeah, man. I'm excited to help you with Cray. His dog, your dog is coming to me soon, which I'm excited to help you with. And you should follow, what's Becca's page called? Pausable? Pause.
Oh, yeah. Providing possible.
Yeah.
With PAWS.
Yeah.
PAWS.
I think you relate to her story a lot, Rowan.
Dude, she like so inspirational, bro.
Yeah, she's awesome. I've connected with her through you, really, is how I found out about her, but she's awesome.
Really, so she does a lot of teaching in my cyber class. No.
Yeah. So what do you do in your cyber class? Because I've never eavesdropped in that. I'm curious. What is that for? What do you do?
It varies. Like, this upcoming week, I'm just going to do, like, a basic intro to the e-collar, show them how to turn it on and off, and, like, my particular strategy, all the little different buttons on it. And we both use the same system, so you already know about all that. But just like you said, like if you were to subscribe to my classroom, you would take different value than other people would take, because we talk about multiple different things, and a lot of it would be repetitive for you. But somewhere along the way, you might, like, get a new idea, or, like, something would be valuable, but most other people are novice to the dog training thing, so it's extra valuable to them. So, like, the whole session is usually pretty valuable for all the people that actually have paid the $20 a month it is.
Yeah.
But yeah, it just varies. Like, some weeks I'm like Q&A the whole time. And it's been a learning curve for me. I only started a few months ago, and what I've realized with the Q&A is, like, somebody can ask a loaded question, and then I'm, like, sitting there for 15 minutes talking about the same exact question, and then 10 other students are sitting wanting to ask questions. But then I thought to myself, well, you know how, like, dog training, like, rolls into the next thing? Like, there's a lot of shit. Like,
all connected.
Yeah, it's really connected. And so really, with one explanation of, like, how to help separation anxiety, we talk about all the things that would help it, and it's like multiple. The whole management, and it goes one thing into the next. So even though I don't answer everybody's questions, there's still a bit of value there, because the information varies. It's different. There's more than just, like, a simple, quick answer to a lot of that shit. And it carries over. But I'm learning, and, like, I'm gonna, like, try my best in the future to like give them a heads up. Hey, like if you ask like super loaded questions, hit me up after and like we'll talk after class or some shit. But like more basic things like, you know, why is a crate good or some shit, you know, or like then I could kind of like answer that in a couple of minutes and then move on to the next. But yeah, so like certain weeks I'll do Q&As. Like this upcoming week, I feel like I can do 30 minutes of speech on e-collar, the system itself, why I use it, when I use it, what dogs I use it on, which is most, you know, temperament stuff, levels, you know, the like how high, because everybody doesn't want to fuck it up, so that they're really hesitant to use it because they don't know what levels to use, and of course we base that off the temperament, and so we go, you know, when the dog first starts to feel it with their working level, you know, all the shit. Shout out to Larry Cron. I'm gonna buy your book if you're still here, bro, because I want to dig into that a little bit more from your perspective. I actually learned. I went to
a book, guys.
Yeah, there's a book right there.
A couple of people asked me recently about e-collar. What is it? E-collar information. How they can learn about it at home. Get this book from Larry Crone.
Yeah, dude. And
one of the 2 dog training books I own.
I have, you know, in my mind, I feel my approach is effective, but that book right there will do nothing but add more. It'll add more to my toolbox. And like, if you're somebody watching right now, you just have to know that. I don't know, I guess 5 years is a relatively short dog training career, but I know that I'm consistently and continually putting more tools in my toolbox. And I learned from Russ, and I learned from everybody that I follow. I don't really have a really big fraternity of dog training friends because for some reason it tends to be like a high school girl fucking shit talking fest a lot of the time.
Yeah.
And so I'm really, really sort of, I got trust issues based on like my past experiences. So I'm like very tactical with who like I give my heart to these days, as far as that's concerned. So I'm a bit damaged goods when it comes to the dog training world, Russ.
Yeah, so I'm one of the lucky few, huh? I made it through. I made it through. I feel privileged.
Wow.
Larry's
you're a genuine person, man, and that's all I'm really looking for.
Yeah. So what do you, now that you're in this whole dog training world, right, and you've kind of made yourself a bit of a presence here, you have a massive following on all different platforms and stuff, and people know you, like, what do you love most about what you do?
I truly, like, you see some of the silly shit I post. I actually do enjoy the entertainment value. I enjoy when I make people laugh, you know.
Yeah.
I really like it. Like, it has the tendency, especially during like really rough times like right now. I haven't been posting much of it lately because I myself have been busy with my nose to the grindstone. With Hazel, particularly this little, she's a French Mastiff, and she's really given me a run for my money. She's extremely fearful at 5 months, and it's been a difficult case. But we're doing good. But I enjoy making people laugh, dude. It gives me a really awesome feeling that I have the ability to do that just by being stupid, you know?
Yeah, I love it.
I should do it more because the response is always great. And not to be confused with me, the attention seeking, rather than like people will literally thank me in my DMs. Dude, like, I had a shitty day and like this video like completely changed my whole day around, and like that feels great.
Yeah.
I posted a video today regarding separation anxiety, and it's gotten a really, really good response. And people have thanked me for just bringing up a really practical and simple idea for them to just like teach their dog to become a little more independent by simply not giving them the affection when they come beg for it every time, right?
Yep.
And people thank me for that. And so I think ultimately in my heart, I know I'm doing the right thing in my life because of the way I feel when somebody says that I've helped them. And we're all in this world to try to make money and do that. But the one thing that I've learned over the course of time is that if I've ever lost sight of like the money thing, if I've ever made the money the focus, I've gotten myself into a little bit of trouble because that's the wrong perspective to really have. It says right here in this book, if you don't believe me, that money is simply a byproduct of helping, you know, other people. So if you help other people, the money will come one way or the other. So it doesn't even have to be the focus. And then to take it a step further, at this point in my life, I've made money and I've got money. I've got more money than the average person in America. But here I am still doing what I'm doing, looking for way more. And what that's told me is that it's really not about the money, because if it was, I would just stop this. I would stop all that I'm doing right now. Game over. Made money. And that's not what life is about, man. Like, it's really not. It's like,
you know, Zig Ziglar says, if you help other people get it, whatever, how does he say it?
Yeah, but help people get what they want.
People get what they want in life, you'll get what you want, right? That was like one of the first things that really got me going when I started to get passionate about like having my own business and getting this going and building my own community around what I do. I was working with dogs, but I was working at a facility, and I knew that I needed to have my own business. Like since I was a little kid, I knew I needed to be my own boss. Like I couldn't have people telling me what to do and how to live my life. Like this is my shit. I got to do it my way.
You're unemployable.
What like really triggered it going was that line from Zig Ziglar, because I was like, I know I can change people's lives through this dog training thing. And if that's really true what he's saying, I'm like, I'm going to put it to the test. And like, it's true. It's true.
And it doesn't have to be dog training. Like if there was 1 million people tuning in right now, I would have them look deep within themselves and to think about what it is in their life that when they look at it or when they think about it, it really, truly fucking gets them going. You could take that. And if there's a possibility to help other people sort it out, dude, this guy right here did a potato gun, fool. His first fucking thing is he devised a potato gun and sold a shit ton of them. Like, I didn't even know potato gun was a thing, but it's a thing. Like,
I need to get a potato gun.
It launched potatoes. Like it sound, and after I figured it out, I'm like, yeah, that actually would be pretty cool. But like, in any case, it's just my point is like, it could be anything. Problem solve for people, and do it with the core of your being, and you'll be successful at whatever it is. That's it. That's the recipe right there. And of course, there's like all kinds of shit along the way, like social media strategy and like, you know, how, like in this book, like how to create your culture, you know, because unfortunately in life, you can't make everyone happy. You know, like I think I'm a pretty nice guy and I try to be cool to fucking everybody, but I'm hated by quite a few people. You know what I mean? I use an e-collar. Like, holy shit, what a bastard, right?
Yeah.
So you can't. And so there's actually, in this book, and just through my own personal experience as well, there's ways to find your people faster. There's like strategy to find the people that are actually going to be team calm canine. And there's people that are going to be team floppy ears that are like gung-ho. And then you'll have like the lukewarm that are just watching. And then you'll have like, you know, your haters. It's just all a part of life, man. Unfortunately, you can't escape it. But yeah.
Yeah. From my short time doing this, and I haven't been active on social media as long as you and all of that. But what I found, the more that I am slowly growing my community and my culture, as you called it, and attracting my tribe. But I found that without reading any books on it, just from my own work and trial and error and seeing what works.
That's the best way to learn.
Yeah. The number one thing that I found that really works the best is be yourself. Like whatever that is, whether it's be yourself through the way you show your dog training or the way you exercise to show people how to exercise, or just on your stories or dancing in funny clothes on the street or whatever it is. It's like, just be yourself. When I found your page, I think I found you through Whitney of Sage's Way. I'm pretty sure. When I found your page, like the number, like first it's like, hey, another dog trainer, right? Big deal. Like there's tons of dog trainers and I see so many, but what stood out to me was like, this guy's different because he doesn't give a fuck. Like you're just yourself. And that's something that you don't see a lot, especially on social media. So many people have this social media voice and then they have themselves, right? They have this like, when I'm doing my Instagram lives, I talk one way. As soon as that shit goes off, I'm a completely different person. Yeah. And when I first started doing social media, like I hated being on camera and I hated hearing my voice. I hated seeing my face. I had issues with all that stuff, but I committed to doing a video every single day for a whole year, 365 days, never, ever missed a day. And like I traveled to Europe. I did it from Europe. Everywhere. I did one video every single day.
Yep.
And what I started to realize is that my videos got better and attracted more people the more I was myself on those videos. And the more I said things the way I would normally say it. In the beginning, I was trying to was in the beginning, I was trying to be someone that I wasn't because I thought I needed to do that in order to be a dog trainer, in order to be a dog trainer on social media. And then like it finally hit me one time. I was like, all those other dog trainers already exist. So if I'm going to get my clients, my tribe, my culture, my community, there has to be something about me that's going to attract them that those people don't have. And it has to be me being me, right? That's the only thing that's going to make it work, because I'm not a better dog trainer than a lot of other dog trainers out there. I'm just a dog trainer, right? I think I'm pretty good at what I do, and I could explain things pretty well, but so could a million other dog trainers out there. It's like we have so many in this industry right now. But the one thing that's going to differentiate me from Joe Schmo, the dog trainer in Brooklyn or whatever, is that I'm me and he's he. So if I'm not showing people who me is, then it's not going to ever work, right? It's not going to get my people.
You know what? I've seen some of your dance moves, bro. Those stand out. Those stand out, buddy.
Don't hate on that. I can't shake my ass the way you could. I'm sorry. I try.
No, man. I'm very happy that you got to that point, man, because I'm a big fan of yours, dude. And I want to know the real you. And I think people can see that. I think that's why you got the better reaction, because people aren't stupid, man. People watch really closely. People watch really closer than you would expect. Not you, but people watch closer than others would expect how closely they watch. Like sometimes I'm like, fuck, man, like I'm shocked at the attention to detail people pay attention to. And so I found it easier for me naturally. Maybe it was I don't know. I guess I might have some natural charisma or fearlessness, confidence, but I do, like every other human being, have a consciousness of what others are thinking and saying, because that's the human being in me. I think it's a brave thing to be who you are, because you have to, other people, I've said this the other day, like, other people are going to see what you're putting out. But at the same time, that bravery of just putting it out there will resonate with the right people. You know what I mean? Like you might get someone talk shit. You might get someone to unfollow, but you might get that one person who's going to be your like diehard, because you inspired them for simply just not giving a fuck. You know what I mean? And there's a lot of power in that. There's a lot of power.
Being yourself is scary because being vulnerable. It's opening yourself up for, especially social media. It's like if you're talking to someone in person, one-on-one, it's okay, that's different. But being on social media in front of anyone in the world can watch you, and like just to be yourself, that's scary. You're opening yourself up for everything, and everything will come. As soon as you start doing that, that's when the haters come. They don't come when you're copying someone else.
Everybody's got an
Yeah, and they come more like, at least with me, like the more I started being myself was the more I found people who didn't like me, but I also found the people who did like me. So it helps you really narrow down into who's your tribe.
Exactly. And in this book, I keep on coming back to this. It's like
that's your Bible.
A huge part of it is like finding your voice. And the only way to actually find your voice is to start talking with your voice, like who you are, and doing this type of thing here. And I've got 2 people that I'm mentoring right now, both of which are so uncomfortable with I looked at both of their Instagram pages, and there's not a single video of them talking about anything. But yet here they go in the email telling me like jackpot stories. One lady lost 175 pounds. Like, dude, you need to like tell the world that you did that and how you did that. Like, you know how many people you're going to inspire? I'm getting chills thinking about that story. Who do you know that have lost 175 pounds? Like, that's an incredible story. This other girl battled cervical cancer twice. Wow. Dude, like you have these amazing stories that people will get behind and be inspired by. You just got to start talking about it. And I don't tell people how to feel, because nobody likes to be told how to feel. I made that mistake not too long ago, and I've adjusted from that, from when people were being all afraid because of the COVID. Like, don't be afraid. Like, well, you can be afraid, dude. Like, but let me try to help come up with a solution so that you might be not as afraid, instead of like tell you how to feel. I don't know. You got me all fired up talking about how to change lives and inspire people, man, because that's my quest, my journey moving forward. I'll always be involved with dog training, but my heart is resting heavily on helping other people. See, because you're in a situation yourself, how many people would love to be you're booked with dogs? Like, you're booked all the time. Everybody wants you to train their dogs. Like, that is a fucking dream to people, dude. You know what I mean? Like,
I feel like I'm living a dream. It doesn't feel real that I'm booked like all the time. Honestly,
Well,
it's strange, but it's awesome.
Cheers, mate. Cheers. And if I start to lose track of that and I'm like, fuck, man, I'm picking up so much shit, or like I'm so overbooked and overworked, like, hold on a minute, dude. Just hold on a minute, buddy. Like, don't start complaining now. You know, you asked for this. You know, careful what you wish for, man. You know, like, fuck.
Yeah, that's when it's time to take a break so you could actually appreciate what you worked for and what you got. So
My wife tells me all the time. She goes, dude, let's go. Let's go to the mountains for 3 to 4 days. Let's reset. No, don't book. She'll set a deadline. Do not book. You know, we'll get clients when we get back. Like, just stop. Because I'm always like looking for my next, you know, I'm always when you fill up your own schedule, you're like, all right. You've got to make sure that shit's locked in. Otherwise, you know, you're not getting a paycheck from somebody. You got to go get your paycheck, you know? So
do you think being in a stadium in front of tons and tons of strangers on a nightly basis helped you be that fearless yourself that you say you have naturally? Do you think that was a part of that process?
Maybe. When I was playing ball, I'd have the biggest crowd I played in front of was 10,000 people. This was actually in Brooklyn, New York at Keyspan Park right there in Brooklyn on Coney Island. And it was an all-star game. That was a brand new stadium, $8 million stadium, beautiful park right there. When you're locked in and you're playing ball, like, they're not there, man. It's like they're not even there. You're just focused on the task and stuff.
Like you're in your zone.
Yeah. And I don't know, it's a really good question. I haven't really fully thought about that. Perhaps it has had some sort of, you know, benefiting.
Because I think most people, like, obviously you could have a natural personality where like you're more comfortable being yourself. But I think most people have a certain level of fear of being vulnerable, right? There's just that there. But to me, I've never been in front of 10,000 people where I'm like being watched, right? And every move you do is being critiqued. Like, as a baseball player, I'm just like, they're announcing what you do. Like, it's not just like people are looking, like they're talking about what you're doing on a loudspeaker, right? And that's, to get into that zone in front of all of that is a special skill. And to me, it sounds like it's something that can carry over to life. But I was just curious if that ever felt that way for you, if you ever brought that up.
It was like going into the third inning, which is like 1/3 of the game, you know, 1/3 of the game has transpired. It was, you know, 10,000 people, all-star game, and nobody had gotten a hit yet. So nobody has done any offense yet up to bat. And I was the 9th batter in the lineup, which is the last batter. And again, I'm like locked in, and I was actually the first kid to get a hit. And when there's a pitching duel, meaning the pitchers are just dominating the game and the batters are just getting dominated, it's kind of boring. Like, people like to see offense in baseball. They come to see a home run, or they come to see. And so it was boring up until then. I was the first person to get a hit. So people were like on the edge of their seat waiting for some offense to happen. And I got a base hit up the middle. I swung at the first pitch. I said, fuck it, this guy's throwing heat. I'm hacking. So I swung, and I connected and hit a base hit up the middle, right past the pitcher. And the place lost it, dude. Like, and I ran around. If you could see the chills on my arms, man, I ran around first base, and it was the highest. I used to smoke weed, and I've never been so high in my life with 10,000 people. There was no drug on planet Earth that I will never forget the feeling of all those people screaming because I got that hit that day. And that was the best, man. And that's when I did realize that the people were there watching. But while I was there, it's crazy. I never talk about baseball because it's like a past life of mine, you know? It's like a past life of mine. But I am so grateful to the game. I'm so grateful. I should probably talk about it a little bit more. I could likely write a book. It would obviously appeal to a completely different crowd than my dog training crowd.
Maybe, or maybe not. I think, like, just from this conversation, I feel like there's so many things that kind of do relate in an interesting way, that you have that perspective that most don't. Like, I would never think of any, like, the way you look at your clients and everything, the way you were saying with this competitive way, like, I wouldn't think of it as a game in the same way as you, because I never played a game. I never played sports, like, at all. I wasn't that type of person, right? So you have this whole different perspective on it that I'm sure could relate to dog training in an interesting way that if you did think about it and get that perspective going, it would sell to the same crowd. That's what I think.
But you have the pride in your craft, and like that's really the same thing. I was very prideful about winning in baseball. I wanted to succeed. I really wanted to live up to what I truly thought my potential was. I was very confident in my ability to succeed. And so when I didn't, I was like, all right, well, that was a fluke. Let's go. I was waiting for my next turn to go. Like, I can't wait to try again. Like, I'm going to show this fool he took my lunch money this time, but he's not taking it next time. You know what I mean? Like, and I think I have baseball to thank that it showed me that about me. Maybe I never learned that about me unless I had ball to teach me that. And so I do thank baseball and its lessons that have, I guess, carried over in that sense. But pride in craft is pride in craft, man.
Yeah,
you have that too.
Absolutely. Do you know Brene Brown? Because your whole thing that you just explained about like being in that arena and everything, it reminded me of what she talks about, of like being in front of. So Brene Brown is a speaker and an author, and she has a book called Daring Greatly, which I highly recommend to anybody who wants to.
What's it called?
Daring Greatly, like to dare greatly. Yep. And I recommend that book to anybody who wants to be anything. Like, you want to be a good person, read that book, because we all have to be leaders of some sort. We all make ourselves vulnerable in one way or another. So it doesn't mean necessarily running a business or anything, but she talks about being in the arena. Obviously, it's not like a physical arena, right? But being in the arena, and it's based off of a speech by Teddy Roosevelt, where I'm not going to try to quote it properly because I won't. But basically, he says that it's not the person who wins that matters in the arena necessarily. It's the person who goes and keeps fighting and ends up bloody and sweaty and all messed up that matters. And she takes it one step further and she says, and it's also not the people who are around the arena that matter. It's what's going on in the arena. And if you're not in the arena with me, then it doesn't matter. Your opinion doesn't matter. And it's like you're not there, which was kind of the reason why it came into my mind. And it might not have anything to do with what we were saying, but it's just because the way you described that story, where you like kind of went back there for a second, which was very cool, but where you were on the field and 10,000 people watching you, and you were so zoned in to just what's there, what's in front of you, that the people around you didn't matter. And like on a daily basis, the way that affects everybody in real life is like, if you're not in the arena with me, as like Brene says, then your opinion doesn't matter, right? If you're not in here with me, fighting the fight, playing the game, whatever it is that you're doing, that's your arena, your personal arena, then your opinion doesn't matter. It's
I love that, because you got all these Karens out there with hardcore opinions about my dog training style. Like, bro, you don't even know, dude. Like, you don't even know. Like, go home. Go focus on your own fucking arena, bro. Like, if you're gonna be negative, get out of my fucking arena, because you don't know about my shit. Sorry about the bad language.
Yeah, for all the kids listening. I
know.
Yeah, but I think you should check out Brene Brown's work, just because that whole idea. But it reminded me of that. It reminded me of that, the way you were describing that whole being in that stadium with everybody watching you, but yet still, it's like you didn't even know they were there, and that's something to live with, really, right? That like we're all in that. We're in that stadium, that arena every day, especially us people who put ourselves on social media. It's like the whole world is your arena, right? And you're gonna get shit. You're gonna get people booing you all the time. But and Gary Vee always says, if you listen to the people who are all positive about you also, it's just as bad, because you get used to that, and then you expect that, and then you want that, and you think you deserve it, as opposed to like none of the noise matters. The good, the bad, it's just you focus on your arena, your game, your whatever it is that you're doing, you stay in your zone.
Yeah.
So what would be one thing, like, now that you've worked with a lot of dogs and a lot of owners, and you have your own very good twist on dog training, like, even though a lot of trainers train in similar ways, you have the Chad Gabbz way of doing it. And what would be one thing that you would say that you wish every dog owner knew?
That I wish every dog owner knew.
Like, if they were all tuning in now.
That their dogs don't speak English. No.
Yes, that's awesome.
Yeah, it's a big one, you know. It's so often that people try to talk their dogs into doing things when they haven't learned it yet. It's like you got to teach them first, man, and that's not the language that you're going to teach them in. I promise. Like, you know, I think Larry recently made a really good video about that. But that's it. Like, are you gonna? It's like a fucking pet peeve of mine, you know, because you know, like it doesn't work, but they still talk. They still go for it. Like you know, it's not working. Like you haven't talked them into it yet.
Yeah,
You're still
right.
going. You're still going. But I always, from the empathetic point of view, I get it because it's very, you know, they all like a lot of people do it, and it comes from a pretty good place in the heart. They're like they want to help the dog out. They're like they want to like talk the dog out of being fearful or you know and it's like that comes from a good place in their heart. So my strategy when I talk about these things, it's not like to poke fun or to make fun. It's just to bring that to light so that
Yeah.
I could actually get through to people. Because yeah, I could be like, this is like the way I was taking the piss right there.
Yeah.
That's not going to get through. People will be like, well, fuck you, unfollow, but then go practice the right way. But I don't want them to get mad at me. Like I want to help them. And so delivery is definitely key when it comes to like teaching. Like my video I did today, I was strategic because a lot of people accidentally create anxiety symptoms for their dogs, and I know they're not doing that shit on purpose. And there's other dog trainers, the way they deliver it, it's almost like in a way to like slap the person in the face for doing it, but they didn't mean to do it. So I want to deliver it in a way like I understand that it's really hard. I mean, for this dog here, this little pup in my lap, he's the cutest little mini wiener dog in the history of dogs. And like to say no to him when he wants to come give me like constant affection and get my attention, it's hard, even for me. Like it's hard for me to say no, but I know that it's going to be healthy for him to learn to be a little more independent. And so I'm going to say, Kobe, we just spent time, bro. Like go over there for a little while and just learn to just chill over there without me. And so this helps the dog's mindset. This helps the dog feel comfortable a little bit more without me being around. Like you don't want your dog to sit there and like, where are you at, owner? Where are you at? Like that's an unhealthy state of mind, you know? And a lot of the times, you know, we're accidentally creating these symptoms by like catering to the dog's bullshit, I call it, you know? It's not bullshit, but you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm
We as humans, like we naturally assume that verbal language, and for most of us listening to this, English is just the way to communicate with anything because it's so natural, it's so normal. And we kind of use verbal language as a crutch, and we lay off of all the other ways that we communicate, like body language and eye contact and facial expression and energy and all that stuff, which is very strong communication that we all use on a daily basis with each other without realizing it. But because we rely on verbal communication in such a strong way with each other, we tend to think that that's going to make sense for our dogs who absolutely have no clue what verbal communication is, right? It's like, you know, that it reminds me of the Family Guy episode. It's so funny that this just popped into my head where like he goes outside and he's barking and then the other one's like, I'm a dog too, right? And it's like, they're not doing that. When your dog is barking at another dog, there's no conversation happening. There's no words, there's no language. It's just rah, rah, rah. It's a lot of noise. And we tend to think that because we're like superior, intellectually superior, that like they're just going to get what we're saying. Yeah. And it's a normal, natural thing for us all to think that, but we have to step out of that for a second and realize that these beings, although they're very similar to us, they're also extremely different. Yeah. And we have to find a way to communicate with them that they're actually going to understand. I tell everyone I work with, like on our phone consult, that like the number one first thing that has to happen in order to make any progress is open up a clear line of communication. Yeah. And that's not going to happen by sitting down and explaining to your dog how life works because you tried that already, right?
And, you know, like it saddens me too because there's a lot of folks that like they're like, it just, the dog doesn't listen, and they like kind of like, it's broken, the dog doesn't listen. Like, oh dude, like that's not fair.
Yeah, your dog's not ignoring you, he doesn't understand you.
Doesn't get you what you're trying to say, man, you know? So
yeah,
don't punish your dog because you haven't taught him. That's what I say.
A while back, I should do this again. A while back, I made a challenge for my followers of trying to not talk to your dog for a full 24 hours. And you could use, like, if your dog knows basic commands, if they actually know the commands, you could use your like 5 basic commands that you use on a daily basis. But besides for that, no verbal communication whatsoever. Just live with your dog. Just exist with your dog. And I've done it like with my own dogs, because I'm not going to tell someone to try something that I've never tried before. I think that's stupid. But
I've never even considered it.
Yeah, but try it, man. Like, it's powerful because number one, you'll realize how much you do it, even though you preach about it. Like, I know I do it. Like, I'm going to get off of here and I'm going to go check in and be like, hey, Marley, how are you? Chilling over there? Like, it's normal. It's what we do, right?
You know that, like, your dog isn't, like, taking that in the same. You just do it. Like,
right.
You don't expect the dog to be like, oh, yeah, dude, what's up, Dad?
Like, yeah. But it like shows what it did for me is it showed me and some people who gave me feedback when they actually tried it said the same thing, is it showed you like how much we actually do these things for ourselves, but it doesn't benefit the dog whatsoever. It probably screws them up a little bit, right? Yeah, and then the other end of it is also realizing like how powerful existing with your dog is, just existing with it. Like, put a leash on your dog and just hang out with it, you know, so that it has to stay with you and just exist in each other's space. Learn, like, we both talk about coexistence so much, and like what proper socialization is coexistence, right? But most people don't ever coexist and socialize with their dog in a healthy, natural way. And by taking away the verbal part of it, I think you can feel that impact even in just 24 hours. And it's a cool challenge to try.
100%. And it's like, I always say dog training isn't the dogs are easy, man. The dogs are so easy that, you know, relative to like the human makes it hard because they either feel uncomfortable with the strategy or they're just really not going to be committed. You know, it's like one or the other. Those are the two problems that I see mostly. But then, you know, most of my clients are keen. And they put a good investment in it. And once you put money into something and take it a little more seriously, you know, I get a lot of cool videos sent to me. And of course I always post them in my my stories, but a lot of gratification in dog training. Met as many people as have shit in my mouth. I've met an equal amount of good people doing it too. So whatever, you gotta lose some to win some.
Yeah, man. It's like whenever I get like a hater or somebody who wants to talk shit on my page or whatever, it used to bother me. At this point I can honestly say like I laugh. And like I have, like, for example, I have one person on my YouTube channel that every single time I post something, it's like he's waiting and he comments a whole long speech about how I abuse dogs. And I'm so grateful for him at this point because it makes the algorithm push out my videos more. So I've seen, since he started doing this, 1 or 2 more views on my videos. So like, thank you for that. Whoever you are, dude out there who has no life, like I appreciate you. But like,
very
really helped me like focus like on not caring about that stuff is go home sessions and seeing that click, right? When that owner like breaks out into a smile because they have their dog that they always wish they had and they reconnect with that dog, or getting a video from an owner like a month or 2 after when you haven't heard from them and you're like hanging in that, how's things going with them? And all of a sudden they send you a video of their dog off leash on the beach or whatever it is.
Killing it.
Yeah. And that's what, like, I don't care about some loser who's like making a comment on my page who probably like has a shitty relationship with their dog and doesn't have a life, because you have the time to do that. That doesn't bother me when I know that I just gave a family back their dog. Like, it balances out pretty easily.
People will try to take you away from who you are and try to like belittle you. And Gary Vee talks about it. It's just that person's in pain. You know, that person's suffering in some way or the other. And I'm the type of guy, I'm an athlete and I've been in some scuffles. My initial is to want to fucking punch him right back in the face, you know, but that's only gotten me in trouble, man. You know, and to date, I still every now and again jab back. And it's stupid that I do. I always think, I shouldn't have done that. You know, like I'm better than that. But it's my natural instinct to, if someone punches me, like I want to punch them back. And it's a battle for me. It probably will always be a battle for me to zip my fucking mouth when someone's a dick. I'm never a dick first. That's the thing.
Try this. Type it out and then erase. So you get it out.
That's an idea.
I've done that one.
It's like, I think I get extra mad about it because, like, what the fuck? Like, I would never just come on your page and, like, even if I disagreed with your shit, like, I would never, like, take the time to come over to your page and unsolicit Sally your ass. Like, what? Who the fuck does that?
I look at social media as like this is my living room, and I invite you in to hang out. And if you come into my living room and take a shit on the floor, I'm gonna have to send you out of my house. Like, I just can't have that. Like, it's just it's a strange rule I have, but I can't have that in my living room.
That's rude. Don't shit on my carpet.
Yeah, that's the way I look at it. It's like, this is like, I worked hard on this post. This is my living room. I invited you in. You're more than welcome to stay and hang out. But like, if you shit on it, I'm sorry. I'm just gonna have to send you out. Like, there's no other option.
I don't like stains. All right.
Yeah, man. Tiffany says hi.
Is Tiffany checking in?
She just checked in. Tiff says hi.
Hey, Tiff.
Alrighty. So we're gonna wrap it up. It's been about an hour, and I have some dogs to get to because things are running late. So let's wrap it up. But tell everybody how they can find you, where they can get in touch with you, work with you, all that fun stuff.
It's Team Floppy Ears on pretty much every social media platform. Team Floppy Ears at yahoo.com. We are based out of Southern California, so if you need your friendly neighborhood dog trainer, I'll be around here for you. And Russ, I'm happy to be the 11th. I was waiting around. I thought I might have been in the top 5 maybe, but I'll take the 11th spot.
Listen, 11th is good. We built something up here first. We had to get some momentum before I had the real deal come on.
I'm playing with you, man. I love you, buddy, and I appreciate it. And it's been an honor to chat with you this evening.
Thanks, man. Love you. Have a good night, everyone. Thank you all for tuning in, and stay kind.
All right. Peace.